impatient sometimes here. And today on Let's Start, we're talking about let's start dancing.
Yeah.
Micki, what is up with dancing? Tell me.
Well, did you know that dancing actually promotes more intimacy and closeness and helps you feel better about yourself and your partner?
So, I mean, we all know getting your freak on definitely helps, but what can you go a little more into detail? I mean, it's obvious. I remember my first dance with my first boyfriend at camp, although he was like a foot shorter than me, so the eye contact was very hard. But why is dancing and something that we want to focus on right now?
Well, dancing is something that really helps you to feel more alive, and it helps to secrete serotonin, which is that happy hormone. It helps increase endorphins, which is that thing that you secrete when you exercise. And it helps you to communicate without using words, right?
Yeah, although secrete is not the sexiest of words when we
Yeah.
think of dancing. But
Yeah.
okay, so we have a lot of things that we could focus on. We really think that dancing is like a fun, easy way to get into the mood.
Yep.
And not just the mood as in feeling, connected to
Connected.
somebody, but also maybe to yourself. And
Absolutely.
So-
I mean, whether you're single or in a relationship, or you're in a relationship and you want to dance by yourself.
yeah.
Either of those things. If you're in a crappy mood, especially if you've experienced any sort of trauma, it is the healthiest way to knock it out. It is the easiest, quickest, freest, healthiest way to knock out trauma, because you just start dancing and move your body around in ways that you wouldn't normally do on the street or in public, and you just kind of let loose, and it just helps you to feel so alive and so connected to yourself, and it literally can make all the difference in how you feel.
It actually reminds me that, with October 7th and the tragedy, obviously, that befell that day and every day since
Yeah.
then, there was a couple of months where I had to detach myself in order, and I'm sure people can relate, and not just to October 7th, but any tragedy in their lives where they kind of have to put a pause and keep going about their day. And I took a dance class a couple of months in with
Wow.
a friend. I was visiting in America, and this is like a thing that we do. And it was a hip hop class.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was in the back, and I started crying.
Wow.
And I felt so weird.
Alive.
Oh,
Not
you
alive?
say alive. It was a different kind of an alive.
Yeah?
I think that there's different. It's good what you're saying. It's not the alive. I feel a moment. I'm having my groove, and I'm actually know how to do the steps, because all of that I didn't. It was I'm connecting to something that's alive in me that I
Yeah.
had put that pause on.
Suppressed.
Yeah. And it came after me
Yeah.
in that motion. It really, there was something that my body was physically doing to let go, and that came up through me. So it was kind of funny,
Yeah.
because I'm in the
Pushed
hip
up
hop
these
class
emotions.
and I'm like crying, doing a little like shimmy and a little twerk and then a little tear, and it was really
Yeah.
hard. So I totally get that.
Yeah, I had a similar experience.
Yeah. Oh.
I'll never forget my friend, my cousin David's 50th birthday. It was actually August 29th, so it was 2 days before Hirsch and the other 5 hostages were released. And I mean, we didn't know what was we didn't even know that was going to happen. If not released, their bodies were released. They weren't released alive. But there was all this craziness with Lebanon. They were threatening us that week. We were supposed to go on vacation. We couldn't because they were throwing all these bombs
Yeah,
at us, and all this
just
sort of
pick
stuff was
and
going
choose.
on. It was so many crazy things going on, and it was the last week of school. It was the last week of vacation.
Summer, yeah.
It was the last week of summer vacation. I was so blown out of proportion. I was planning on being away. I ended up being home with my kids and like not really knowing what to do with them, not really feeling safe to take them out. And there we were. We drove to Zichron to his 50th birthday party, and he had a drumming circle. And I thought we were just going to be drumming, and that would have been great. And then they invited us up to dance. And no one wanted to dance. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get up and dance. And I danced like a crazy person. You could ask anybody who
Like
was there.
Elaine
Zichron.
on Seinfeld.
It was totally Elaine on Seinfeld.
With
We were
drugs, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I was literally just imagining myself being the family members of hostages and feeling like I was dancing on their behalf and feeling all the emotions that we've been holding on to for so long. And it was such an amazing release. And
Yeah.
I just felt so good that I did that, even though I probably looked like an absolute flaming lunatic. But there is something so incredible about being able to dance and using your emotions to fuel that power and to help you to feel more alive and more connected to yourself. And it's like when you can move your body however the heck you want, and knowing that this is the freest way you can feel. And then when you're able to do that, and you're able to do that especially with no judgment from your partner, and they even like how you move, that really creates this really deep connection. Then when you do that together, and sometimes you could do that like where he's watching you, or you're watching him.
He, them,
she,
they,
them,
whatever.
they, whatever the gender, we're not, and then you're taking turns, each dancing individually, together, separately, together, doing that tandem thing. And there's something about not needing words to communicate, and just being able to look into each other's eyes and just have that connection that you feel while you're moving your body. There's something that makes you really come alive, and that makes you feel happy and glowy, and it creates these new neural pathways in your body that you never even knew existed before.
Right.
And it's this incredible feeling.
I also do this as as a family thing. I think it's really important sometimes to just dance, blast music, a good song comes on. And also you can make sure a good song comes on because you can have playlists, right?
Absolutely.
This is something that we do. I have all different kinds of playlists, and there are songs that bring me back to like 90s, which I really enjoy sometimes. And there are the songs for my kids, or, good beats. Having like a kitchen breakout dance, 1 song, 10 songs, it doesn't really matter, really feels good. And honestly, sometimes, I know you said not in the street. Now, I'm a weirdo in this way, and it's fine because as a comedian, this is like a good funny bone to have. If I'm on a run and a song comes on and I'm stuck at a light, I will sometimes dance. I don't care. Like, it's flowing through my body.
But you're in your car.
No,
you're
on
walking?
a run.
Sorry, I missed that part.
If you are doing a run in your car, I think that's just lazy. I am from LA originally, and we could do that, but no, it's really, I can really let go. And sure, you can be in your car listening, like, and blasting and screaming to a song. It's a little bit different because dancing is very much is also about movement, and not just singing the lyrics of a song. And like, even if you're like dancing with your like honking your horn or whatever. So let's take a step back for a second.
Yeah.
You've given us some good scientific reasons why we should do this. There's definitely an emotional component to this that I think people will feel like, why am I not dancing in my life? Like, I really should find time. So what would be your takeaways here, Micki, as from the therapist point of view? I was going to ask you, do you ever make your clients just get up and dance? Is that too weird?
I haven't done that yet. I've had them do other things. Mostly I had them do enactments where they actually share in a vulnerable way about how they're feeling. But maybe dancing vulnerably would be an interesting thing to do. Yeah. To like sort of force them to do it, because sometimes when they do things in my office.
Make them laugh a little, like in a heated moment, to bring yourself back down.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be beautiful. I mean, they definitely break out into hugs sometimes. That's always beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's something
like a hug to stop the dance because it's so bad. Like, I love
or they
could
stop it. Dance and hug, dance and sway simultaneously.
Yeah.
But there is something about just when you are able to make that time to dance, where you're able to. It's such a stress relief, right? It just really helps you to really, if you're having a really horrible day, and just being able to focus on something else, just shift the focus around. It's like flipping, it's like turning a page, literally. It's like saying, we have had the crappiest day, things have been so horrible, and sometimes it's so hard to get out of that mode.
Yeah.
Right? And so somehow by moving your body in a different way, or just by saying, okay, we were in this crazy fight, or we were in this crazy way, or this crazy space, and now we're just going to turn on some music, and we're going to completely change things around, kind of like a nahafohu, like to flip things around, like what we say in Hebrew. There's something about doing that just helps us to switch our mindset. And we have that in Judaism all the time, as we were talking about that just before the show, right?
I think that also your body is often smarter than your brain.
Absolutely.
I think your brain is telling you things to feel and is like going so deep, and the body naturally understands what you need. And we ignore that our body is telling us. Like when I was doing that dance where my mind had controlled me for so long to suppress my feelings, my body refused to give up on that part of me. Yeah. And that's where it like came out. So I think that scheduling having, like, if you
The
need
playlist.
to put a playlist, a scheduled time in your calendar that gets you, into the dance mood at least once a week, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you can afford to do. Or if it's like a once a day, I like to start my mornings now that we do the ice bath. I do the ice bath in my house, and I also put on music that I like that is
Awesome.
just like in the background for me. Sometimes it helps me keep my face underwater for a long time, but I definitely love the music and the movement. And I think that we really want to encourage people to let go of the mind and get into your body. And by doing this, you're really starting feeling a different way and finding your emotions again, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
I think what would be the point?
It's not about finding your emotions again. It's about creating the happier, healthier emotions, as opposed to the negative emotions that we often have when we get into that negative mind talk, like we were talking about in one of our other podcasts.
Episodes, yeah.
Right, our other episodes. It's literally dancing is something that helps us to get into that positive frame of mind. And when we're able to just move our body in a way that we're not used to, when we're able to move different muscles that aren't even used to being moved, it just creates this, it rejigs our brain in a way, like shakes it up in a way that, we wouldn't normally be able to or think to. And it's not just about, it's about maybe having it scheduled in your week, but it's also doing it in a spontaneous way. I think if you could do it in a more spontaneous way, like, okay, we're all down in the dumps, let's just flip on some music and just turn our mood right around and let's all dance like crazy.
Yeah.
And without judging each other. I know my kids judge me like crazy because I'm a little bit of a nutcase when I dance as well.
To let go of that judgment.
Too bad.
Yeah. I
don't care.
I think that's part of being healthy and happy is letting go of what they think, what society tells me.
Absolutely.
And to be free in that movement, that's where the happiness comes in. It's that content within yourself feeling, despite looking like Elaine on the outside in Seinfeld. And for the young people, if there are any watching this, just Google that afterwards because it's very much worth your while.
Yeah. You'll understand what we're talking about.
Yeah. So I think that'll wrap things up here. I think that if you guys want to share your playlists with us, we can definitely share I have some really good playlists. As I said, I have my 90s vibe as well. But that is something that we believe will be really important in taking this chapter and starting in your life. All the different starts that we're looking for that we share with you on each and every episode here on Let's Start. So that's going to wrap things up. I think that's where we should put pause on this soundtrack on our podcast and get onto your playlist. If you enjoyed that episode of Let's Start, it's easy to keep listening or watching. All you have to do is
follow us on Micki Lavin-Pell on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, or check out my website, lovingwisely.co.il.
What are you waiting for? Let's start.